Hey you guys, it's Robin from the Curated Curl, and I'm here to teach you how to color curly hair. This is my model Quiana, and today you're going to learn all the basic concepts of what you need to do to color hair the proper way professionally. So we're going to start off with sectioning. Proper sectioning is super important when it comes to how we color curly hair. So I'm going to go ahead and section Quiana into 4 sections to get her prepared so that we can do her pinturing highlights. So what's key when it comes to sectioning is that you want to start off with detangled hair. Hair that has been combed and detangled. So this bottom section, we're just going to put this off to the side, but we're going to be working with 4 main sections. So with this middle section, we want to create a halo. This area is going to help to protect any part of the hair in the middle section. So we just want this part of the hair to be more of like an accent. We want it to pop to a certain extent. So this halo part, we're gonna section it out and leave it for later, because that is the part we're gonna focus on to really create that dimension in the hair. Alright, so after we have our halo section off, what we're going to do is take small little duck clips and we're going to section off parallel what needs to be sectioned off. So when we pinture, it's super seamless. We're going to do the same for the front 2 sections. So here we are, starting our parallel sections. Twist and clip. We're going to do the same thing with the left side. Twist and clip. Last section. Twist and clip. Keep everything neat, because this is going to help us be able to seamlessly get through the hair and not fight the hair. We're going to do the right side in the front. Twist and clip. And you want to be mindful of your sections. They should not be super big, but they should not be super small neither. And we're going to leave the last section for us to start to pinture. Now that we have everything nice and sectioned, I am going to mix up the color. So what we're doing today, we're doing a pinturing highlighting technique. So pinturing is basically just a small burst of color that we're adding to every other curl. So today I'm going to be using Blonde as well as, what else am I using? Blonde and a little bit of Redken Shades. So I'm going to go mix up the color and we'll get started pinturing. So we're going to use 1 ounce of the powder to 1 ounce of developer. Particularly with curly hair, we want to start off with lower volume developer. So we're going to start off with 7%. And as I move towards the front of her head, I will bump her developer up to 20%, because timing is everything. So we want to make sure her hair finishes coloring around the same amount of time. Also, we're going to add in Olaplex. This is just an extra insurance policy for the hair, the texture of the hair. We don't want her texture to be compromised for blonde. So we're going to use an insurance policy. Now it will work a little bit slower, but we rather with curly hair to work a little bit slower than to just send the hair cuticle through a whole bunch of trauma. You can always add more, because we want this consistency to be like a paste, because we're balayaging to a certain extent, pinturing by like balayaging all the same freehand coloring techniques. I want it to fall somewhere between some paste, tomato paste, or more like a cake batter. Anywhere between there is pretty good for curly hair. Anything outside that scope is going to be too runny. You want to always have a damp towel. Keep your hands clean. We're going to go ahead and pull down this first back section. We got the paint loaded on my hand. Now this painting technique that we're using is a little advanced because of the Pinturing highlight, but you can use a regular brush, and I'll show you all the technique with a regular brush if you don't have this particular tool, which you probably won't. So we're going to start off the first curl. We're going to do every 3 curls. So this is the first curl. We're going to skip 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do the next curl. We're going to load this brush. We're going to load the paint on the hair. That's our first curl. 1, 2, 3. And this is not a very, you don't have to be so structured with this technique. This is a very freehand painting technique, so you can be very creative about how you place the color on your client's hair. You do want to make sure the paint is saturated really well on the hair though, especially towards the end, because that's where we want the burst of color. As you can see, this sectioning technique helps to keep the hair very organized and out the way. We're going to load the paint on my hand again. We're going to get ready to Pintura again. And this should be a fairly fast process once you get going. And don't worry about it always being neat. This is a clay, so even if you get a little bit of the powder on the client's hair, it's okay. Balayage clay is not going to leave marks or anything on the hair. You do want to be careful though. You want to be neat as possible. And this Pinturing brush really allows you to have control over the product and the product going on each individual curl versus a regular brush. I'll show you all a regular brush and how that looks. I normally use most of my regular brushes for more of an ombre type of situation, but if I do a highlight, then I'm always pulling out my Pinturing brush because it just gives me more control. So we're going to use a different brush this time. I'm using a regular toner brush probably. I use whatever brush I have, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to load our brush, and we're going to load it pretty heavy. Typically with these brushes, I like to do more of a ombre type of effect. But if you want to do a highlight, you can. You just have to be more particular when you get to the roots to make sure that you're doing everything, getting all that hair coated with product. So next, I'm going to do it with a little bit more of a wider brush. This brush is probably going to be better. It's an old brush. It's probably going to be better to use this more for the ombre, especially. I probably won't be able to do much with her highlight at the root with this brush, but I'll show you the technique just so you'll know. So again, you want to paint that on the hair, pull down. So as you can see, we did a pretty good stroke, but when it comes to getting that root, it might be a little bit harder. So be creative with how you use your brushes. Alright, I'm going back to my favorite, the Pinturing brush. And it just depends on what your clients are requesting. My client, she wants Pinturing highlights, so we're going to use the Pinturing brush. And we may mix a couple of pieces that are ombre in there. Now we're going to start with the halo. Last section of the back is that hair that we left off for the halo. And the halo is really where we want to take that area just to show off our skills. That's the top of the head that everybody's going to see. And so we want to make sure that we're very particular about what we do in the halo area. The more you all do this service, the quicker you will get. Alright. We have completed the back. And we're gonna let the back process. Alright, and we can start off with the left or the right side. I'm gonna start off with the left since I'm already over here. And I'm actually going to switch my developer and I'm gonna bump it up a little bit, because the back is normally the slowest part to develop. When you're starting off, you're probably gonna move slowest in the back. Once you get your rhythm, you can start to bump your developer up for my professional. So I'm gonna bump it up to about 20. I'm gonna use some Olaplex. Olaplex is gonna bump it down about 5, so it's gonna get it about 10 or 15. So we got 7 in the back. We're gonna do 10 to 15 in the front, and then we're gonna let it all process together. And so, because if we use 7 in the front, it's gonna take her forever in a day to process it. So we're not trying to be in here all night. Alright, we have completed the Pinturing highlight. We're gonna let Quiana process for 25 minutes and then we'll rinse, cleanse, condition, style.